Hey guys, this is just a supplemental video on factoring the difference of two squares because we've noticed that that has been a weak area of us while formatives have been coming in. So I'm just going to do a really short video on that. So if we have x squared plus 16, what we've seen a lot of students are leaving it just as x squared minus 16. If we look at this, this can be factored down, right? So the x can be split up, x and x. And then we're looking at the 16, what is going to multiply to be 16? Well, our options are 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. So again, I would look at 4 and 4 first. Now, what I think is tripping you guys up is that there's no middle term. So we think, oh, we have an x squared and a constant term, so I'm going to stop there. If we take a look at this, if I do plus 4 and minus 4, notice I have a 4x and a minus 4x. So my middle term is going to actually cancel each other out, and it goes away. And then I get that negative 16. So notice that if our constant term is a perfect square, so 4, 25, 16, 81, 49, 36, we know what our perfect squares are. Make sure we try to factor it down more. So this actually can factor into, these are called conjugates, right? We talked about that with rationalizing. We had to multiply by the conjugate. Same thing here. So x plus 4, x minus 4 is going to get us that x squared minus 16. But notice now when the sign changes to positive, when we're adding two squares, if we wanted to try and factor this, we'd go x and x. And again, we'd go 4 and 4. And since we want a positive 16, our gut would say to add, right? But now look what happens. We get a 4x plus a 4x, which gives us a middle term of 8x. That's not there. So this actually doesn't factor. The sum of two squares can't factor anymore. The difference of two squares can. So that's just something tricky. Make sure we're paying attention to that and always factoring down as much as we can. So just for practice, I want you guys to go ahead and pause the video, try these two. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we'll start with x to the 4th minus 25. How would we split this up? Well, x squared and x squared, right? And then I would go 5 and 5. Now, to get to my negative 25, I need one positive and one negative. Those are conjugates, so I'm going to have no middle term. From here, does this factor anymore? I would go x and x, 5 and 1, no way, right? No way I can get rid of that middle term. That's because this is not a perfect square. Okay, so from here, you would solve for x by setting these equal to 0 if we were solving. For the second one, 4x squared minus 9, I'm going to split this up as 2x and 2x. Now, what's the square root of 9? It's 3. 3 times 3 is going to give me 9. I need a negative 9, so I need one positive and one negative. Now, notice I get 6x and minus 6x, so that gets rid of my middle term, but yet I still get the 4x squared and the minus 9. Okay, so that's just a little supplementary video because we noticed a lot of students were struggling with that and just stopping at this point when factoring. Make sure we always check to make sure it can't factor anymore. So the difference of two squares can be factored into the conjugates. All right, if you have any questions, as always, please reach out.